Roger. Tally present stardom.
Good to have you on the team, Commander.
All clear, Commander. Put me in the thick of it. Hear you loud and clear. I'm moving in.
Warning. Capital class signature detected.
Roger that, Commander. Moving to engage.
They're targeting our capital ship. Defend it!
Not going well. Return to attack position.
Priority targets sighted. Take them out.
loud and clear. I'm moving in.
Good shooting, Commander. Target destroyed. Good shooting, Commander.
Affirmative. Maneuvering to attack position.
Target destroyed.
Multiple targets in this area, Commander. Could be dangerous.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed. Target shields offline.
Good shooting, Commander.
Target shields offline. Under attack.
Hey, let's hit the friendly fire, Commander. Copy that.
Good shooting, Commander.
Target destroyed. Under attack.
Another one down. Keep going, Commander.
Affirmative. Maneuvering to attack position.
One Alpha confirmed status.
Target destroyed.
We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
By all is down 10%. Engaging FS.
targets in this area, Commander. Could be dangerous.
Target destroyed.
Bravo 2 Delta, stay on my wing. Moving to attack. Allied ship destroyed. Collide.
Target destroyed. Target shields offline. Target shields offline.
Enemy is critical. Fly hole in sight.
I'm hit. I'm hit.
Juliet 4-9 requesting assistance. Enemies on my ship.
Target destroyed.
Enemies on my ship.
We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
Targets destroyed. Target destroyed.
Enemy wiped out. Awaiting further orders.
Target shields offline. Target shields offline.
Affirmative. Looking for targets. Weapons hot. We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
Shields offline.
Target is trying to jump away, Commander.
Under attack.
We've almost broken them.
Target shields offline.
We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
Target destroyed.
Enemy dispatched. Acquiring new target. My hull is almost right. Commencing retreat. Bandits at 3 o'clock. Prepare to engage.
Copy that, Commander. Engaging enemy now.
Incoming message.
Nicely done, Commander.
Hull integrity compromised. Shields offline. Under attack. Taking damage. Warning.
Hear you loud and clear. I'm moving in.
Taking internal damage. Power plant capacity exceeded. Target shields offline.
Affirmative. Maneuvering to attack position.
Delta 2-9 are falling back. Canopy breach. I'm fencing 02.
Affirmative. Scanning for threats,
Shields
Commander.
online. Target destroyed. Target shields offline.
Multiple targets in this area, Commander.
Power
Could be
plant
dangerous.
capacity exceeded. Under attack.
Victor 1 Alpha, confirm sector Alpha. I've got a lock on the primary. Missiles away.
Breaking formation.
We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
Offensive flight maneuvers. Weapons flying.
Opening fire.
Bait, Commander.
Under attack.
hardpoint.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Think it's down, sir.
Temperature critical.
Romeo Yankee. The Federation welcomes you. Follow station protocols and enjoy your visit, Commander. Request approved. Cleared to land on pad 2-5. Maintain approach. Prep for landing.
Always proceed directly to your allotted bay to avoid unnecessary delays and/or ship
disengaged.
Hull repaired. extracted.
Ship released. Follow the greens on your way out. Maintain safe separation.
Frameshift drive charging.
You are clear.
Ready to engage.
Lining up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Various craft systems online. Fighter is online. I'm ready when you are. We've got multiple hostiles here. Let's take them out one at a time.
Target eliminated.
Commander.
Target is not clear. All quiet.
Incoming mission critical message.
Multiple target.
Another one down. Keep
Target
going,
shields
Commander.
offline.
You got him! Well done, Commander.
They're trying to escape, Commander.
Power plant capacity exceeded.
Copy that, Commander. Engaging enemy now.
Control on Alpha. Confirm status over.
Received.
Incoming
Vector for
message.
approach to landing pad 39er. Touchdown.
Landing gear deployed.
Advise, traffic restrictions are in place. Maintain safe separation. Contact. Systems offline.
Hull repaired. exceeded. Shields offline. Shields online. Power plant capacity exceeded. Shields offline. Power plant capacity exceeded. Shields online.
Follow the greens on your way out.
Landing gear retracted.
You are clear of the station. FFC out.
Frameshift drive charging. Shift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
Foxtrot, Romeo, Yankee, please follow docking procedures, Commander, and enjoy your stay. Access permitted. Set course for landing pad 2-4.
Cargo scope retracted. Landing gear deployed. Scan detected. Landing gear retracted. Landing gear deployed.
You're on the deck. Engaging docking restraints. Enjoy your stay at our facility, Commander. released. Depart safely from the station.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. System scan complete. System scan complete. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. System scan complete. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
individual. Raxxla. To the jewel that burns on the brow of the mother of galaxies. To the whisperer in witch space. The siren of the deepest void. The parent's grief, the lover's woe, and the yearning of our vagabond hearts. To Raxxla. Alleged toast of the Dark Wheel. The legend of Raxxla has been circulating, in whispers, for centuries. The quest for this mysterious place, the location of which is a deadly secret, was said to be the principal aim of the Dark Wheel, a putative fraternity of legend chasers from the early days of interstellar travel. The earliest recorded mention of Raxxla dates from 2296, from the Journal of Art Tornqvist, a shipboard mechanic based in the Tau Ceti system. He writes, Cora comes home, soused and raving with wild stories, a new one every night. She claims she's found a map to some pirate stash, and all I have to do is loan her my ship so we can go dig it up. Maybe we should go find Raxxla while we're at it. Although Tornqvist's account is the first known attestation of Raxxla, it is clear from context that the myth was already in circulation. It is extremely difficult to find consistency among the various fragmentary rumors of Raxxla. Much like the ancient myths of Atlantis, El Dorado, and the kingdom of Prester John, interpretations of the story range from the skeptical to the outlandish. Raxxla has been suggested to be anything from an unremarkable moon to a state of cosmic enlightenment. The earliest documented stories tend to agree on several points, however: that Raxxla is a definite place and that it holds a mystical secret. Several versions of the Raxxla story mention an alien artifact, the Omphilus Rift, described as a gateway or tunnel through which parallel universes can be accessed. These details, however, were later shown to bear a striking resemblance to the children's story Princess Astrophel and the Spiraling Stars, and soon lost credibility. Undaunted, some Raxxla seekers insisted that the story's author had cunningly concealed facts about the mysterious locale in his book, as hints for those with eyes to see. Students of Raxxla lore have noted that the legend exerts a strangely potent fascination on the minds of seekers,
And be mindful of other pilots in the area.
the uncountable longing for a place one has never seen. More than one interstellar treasure seeker has become obsessed with Raxxla to the exclusion of all other dreams, and spent his or her entire life in a futile search for it. Raxxla also plays a role in several conspiracy theories, most of which attest that it has already been discovered by some kind of sinister cabal or sole tyrant, which has leveraged its power to establish covert dominance over humanity. Whatever the truth of the matter, one thing remains irrefutable. The legend of Raxxla continues to inspire explorers and conspiracy theorists to this day. Colonia.
We were in a tight spot, and people came through for us without even being asked. That's what people do.
Clearance denied.
Crazy, of course. That just made them more determined.
Jack,
Access granted. Go
Jack
directly to
Station.
your landing pad, Commander.
Colonia lies some 22,000 light-years from the core systems, and was the first system in the Colonia Nebula to be settled by humanity. The circumstances of Colonia's founding are highly unusual. The system was colonized as a result of the spontaneous actions of independent pilots, rather than through a formal expansion
Commander,
program.
do the words
The colonization
landing
of
gear mean
Colonia
anything to
began
you?
with an accident involving Jack Station, a jump-capable orbit starport. In May 3302, the station executed a long-distance jump to Beagle Point, but when it failed to reach its destination, it was feared lost. In June 3302, an independent pilot discovered Jack Station in the EL-Pru RST D394 system, suffering from technical issues and effectively stranded. The galactic community reacted swiftly, launching an independent supply drive to restore the starport to functionality. The relief effort soon exceeded its original objective, and many of those involved began to see the distant system as a chance to establish a new community, far from the wearisome conflicts and entrenched viewpoints of the core systems. Talk of a permanent colony went from light-hearted speculation to serious planning. In September 3302, EL Pru RST D394 was formally renamed Colonia, and the first permanent settlement was constructed on the surface of Colonia 2A. An influx of migrants boosted the system's population, aided financially by the Colonia Council, the region's new governing body, and materially by independent pilots. Colonia is widely viewed as a monument to community spirit and human ingenuity, as well as being the first step into a previously uninhabited region of space. Colonia's population is still small, but the region is undergoing continuous expansion and attracting attention from both enterprising corporations and optimistic migrants. To date, Colonia has remained untroubled by the strife that often plagues the core systems, earning it a reputation as a sanctuary. But it remains to be seen if this nascent community will thrive in isolation or be engulfed by political and corporate forces. Individuals: Aidan Tanner.
Our species has been banding together to fight the outsider since we lived in caves. We stand against the lawless, the invaders, and the monsters. And we're proud to do it. But you have to remember one thing. Nobody in the history of conflict ever saw himself as a monster. Everyone believes they're the hero of their own story. If you can't understand that, if you can't stand in the enemy's shoes, even for a second, and ask yourself why he thinks he needs to kill you, then you don't know what it means to be a soldier.
Aidan Tanner, addressed to Federal Cadets, 3298. Admiral Aidan Tanner is a senior officer in the Federal Navy. He has served for more than 4 decades, and in 3303 was given significant responsibility in the struggle against the Thargoids, first being appointed to Chief of Federal Security and later to Chief Military Liaison for the Cross-Superpower Initiative, Aegis. He is widely respected, even outside of federal space, for his conscientious and level-headed approach to conflict. Born in 3254, Tanner was expected to follow in the footsteps of his authoritarian father by becoming a doctor, but instead enlisted in the Federal Navy, along with a group of friends, in what he would later describe as a rash act of adolescent rebellion that I have not once regretted. Tanner's father died in 3277. The two never resolved their estrangement. Tanner's early naval career was anything but distinguished. Known to his comrades in arms as Spoonie for his habit of eating directly from food packets instead of using plates, he was distinguished more by his irreverent sense of humor than his competence. 6 months in, Tanner was found to be responsible for a scurrilous newsletter that satirized several senior officers, including Sergeant Burke Hazel, who was offended and deeply hurt. Hazel had taken a personal interest in Tanner and had encouraged him to persist when the cadet had struggled with basic training. Tanner's defense that he had been trying to improve morale was rejected, and although he was allowed to continue his service, he was marked as a potential insubordinate, a label that would later return to haunt him. Tanner's chief instructional officer, Commander Myra Dunstock, warned him to take military life more seriously. She took Tanner to a refugee facility, an experience he would later characterize as showing him what the military is there to prevent. Tanner recognized a last chance when he saw it, discarded his role as camp comedian, and threw himself into his training with unprecedented energy. The decisive incident in Tanner's career was the Autolycus Mutiny of 3271. At the time, Tanner was serving as Chief Gunnery Officer on board the FDN Autolycus, a Farragut-class battlecruiser, under the command of Captain Jaden Horn. The ship was dispatched to restore order at Cold Harbor Station, which had been occupied
came running. My father stormed down the stairs in his gown. He asked if it was an accident. There was such a strange look in his eyes. I knew that if I said yes, nobody would argue. Nothing more would be said. But I didn't. I stamped my foot and said, "No, Daddy. I did it on purpose." It's the same with tradition. The people who pass it on think it's precious. They expect you to cherish it and pass it on intact.
Landing coupler disengaged.
It doesn't matter.
Give way to oncoming traffic
Because the
during
responsibility
departure.
rests with you. If you know it's wrong, then you have to smash it. On purpose.
Aisling Duval,
Frameshift
fireside
drive
chat with
charging.
Serena, 3301.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Princess Aisling Duval, born in 3276, is a prominent member of the imperial royal family. The eldest child of the infamous Prince Harold, she had a troubled upbringing. Her father was notorious for his hedonistic lifestyle, while her mother, entertainer Imogen Eccentrica Gabriellini, died from an aneurysm shortly after Aisling's birth. The autopsy identified the cause of death as an overdose of purple sunflake, an obscure and expensive narcotic, but conspiracy theorists insisted that she was murdered to remove an embarrassment to the royal family. Aisling has indicated that she is aware of these rumors, but has never commented on them. Despite living a life of great privilege, Aisling has publicly embraced the cause of the less fortunate and become an outspoken opponent of slavery, something that has made her the target of fierce criticism from more traditionalist imperials. But despite this criticism, Aisling is a popular figure with a widespread media presence. Her campaigning has brought definite benefits to many of the poorest in imperial society and gone some way. staunchest of her defenders agree on a counterpoint to this, that her apparent vacuity is nothing but a front, carefully created in collusion with the very advisors whom others believe are exploiting her. The People's Princess, they argue, is exceptionally good at being underestimated. Following the death of Hengist Deval in 3301, individuals, Albert Tesreau.
I may not be religious, but I still have faith. Not the kind my parents have. In fact, I don't think their desperate devotion can even be called faith. The point of faith is that it's tested. And if you insist that your beliefs are above criticism or analysis like the star cults do, you're refusing to allow your faith to be tested at all. What do I have faith in? The fundamental sanity of the universe, I suppose. I don't believe in absolute evil, only in the iniquity that emerges when understanding fails. I believe intelligent life will naturally tend towards cooperation rather than conflict, not because there's a higher power guiding our decisions, but because that's simply the most logical course. And yes, our recent experiences with the Thargoids have tested that faith harshly.
Albert Tesreau. Professor Albert Tesreau is an Imperial scientist, an affiliate of the Achenar Research Council, and a founding member of the Joint Superpower Initiative Aegis, which was established in August 3303 to investigate the Thargoid menace. She currently serves as Aegis's head of research. Tesreau's biological parents were members of the Besmeratu cult, an isolationist group secreted within a sealed compound that believed itself to have been chosen for salvation by non-human beings. The cult's charismatic leader, Anton Hotep, claimed humanity had been under the protection of these beings for millennia, that he was their cosmic messiah, and that only the believers would be saved from the coming apocalypse. In support of these claims, he often produced alien artifacts, allegedly sourced from archaeological digs that other cult members were never permitted to examine closely. Alba was marked as a troublemaker from an early age due to her heretical belief in rationality and the scientific method. She was formally banished from Besmeratu after she sabotaged the air purifying system, forcing the compound to call for help from outsiders and thus humiliating Hotep. After her story became public knowledge, she was adopted into the household of Senator Olivia Tesreau of Achenar and awarded a scholarship to study at Grand Imperial, alongside the children of the nobility. She wrote her master's thesis on the potential uses of mathematics as a lingua franca between human beings and intelligent non-humans. She is passionately interested in non-human intelligence and meaningful discourse between species. Despite the counterfeit alien contact myths of her early life, or perhaps because of them, she is determined to do whatever she can to act as a bridge between human and non-human cultures. Individuals, Archon Delane.
I'll tell you, Delane is the most trustworthy cuss you could ever work with. Why? Because he always makes good on his threats. Anyone else tells you that they're gonna cut off your index fingers and hammer them into your sinuses with your own severed foot, you know it's just bluster. But if Delane tells you that, you know he'll do exactly what he says, to the letter. He wants people to be afraid of him, and that means he keeps his promises. You gotta respect that.
Mantle Hoek, arms trader. Archon Delane is the head of the Cumo crew, a powerful criminal syndicate. He refers to himself as the Pirate King, a title not recognized by any government. Delane's early life is not documented, and there are competing legends of his origin. Some believe he grew up in a drug den on one of the frontier worlds where he learned to fight. Other stories have him working as a bouncer in the brothel where he was born, or training as a grease monkey at an orbital shipyard that hosted clandestine arena fights after hours. What is certain is that Delane challenged and slaughtered the reigning pirate lord of the Cumo crew when he was only 15. The title of Pirate Lord is only transferred on the death of the incumbent, either to a nominated successor or to the victor of a ritual challenge. According to tradition, the Pirate Lord must honor any challenge to his leadership, regardless of who issues it, although the choice of weapons is left to him. In Delane's case, Pirate Lord Crab opted for a bare hands contest, a highly unusual choice. It has been suggested that Crab saw Delane as a weak target due to his albinism, unworthy of a Pirate Lord's personal attention. It is possible that Crab intended to give Delane a beating rather than kill him outright. If so, it was a fatal act of mercy. Footage of the fight shot by onlookers shows Delane deftly evading Crab's heavy blows, allowing the larger man to tire himself out before delivering a sudden jab to Crab's eye. Delane then battered Crab into submission, continuing to pummel the body until it was unrecognizable. The Cumo crew immediately split, dividing itself into those who saw Delane as a legitimate leader and those who refused to follow an unproven youth. The rift was soon closed, however, as Delane proved himself as capable a leader as he was a fighter. It became clear that Delane intended to establish not only his own reputation, but that of the crew. From then on, Delane crushed any dissent with the same uncompromising brutality he had shown to Crab. He took a zero-tolerance approach to the petty squabbles that had previously paralyzed the Cumo crew, and in doing so, turned what had been an anarchic band of opportunists into a lethally effective raiding force. United in purpose and more organized than ever before, the Cumo crew quickly became the terror of the Pegasus sector, absorbing lesser pirate gangs, raiding civilian stations with impunity, and taking over corporate facilities. In Delane's early years of leadership, many rival pirate lords demanded the right to one-on-one combat, each of them convinced that they would be the one to strike him down and take over his enviable criminal empire. Delane met each challenger in turn, agreed to their choice of weapons, and promptly dispatched them. After the death of Pirate Lord Horvath, Razorwhip, there were no further challenges. Delane and his Cumo crew rule by fear, but they operate according to strict rules. If a settlement in Cumo territory has paid its tribute, any Cumo pirate foolish enough to raid it risks being stripped of his rank, his crew, his possessions, his skin, and his life, according to the severity of the offense. These are the infamous 5 strippings, instigated by Delane as a standard punishment across Cumo territory. Individuals. Arissa Lavinie Duval.
I am a daughter, not just of the Emperor, but of the Empire. And I look upon our traditions and achievements with pride. I hold, as my forefathers did, that to be born imperial is to receive the blessings of the universe. That is the true meaning of the ceremonial wine tipped upon our newborn heads. Does this pride in our heritage make me old-fashioned? Some would say so. I know that there are those in my family who cannot bear the burden of rank and privilege without a chronic sting of guilt. But I ask that you look charitably upon those so ailing as I do. After all, rebellion is the prerogative of adolescence. I ask that you reserve your anger for a worthier target. For those who acknowledge our traditions in public, but privately serve only their own corrupt interests. For those who exploit their ancestors' sacrifices while holding our military in contempt. For all the petty, venal, spineless parasites in our very midst. I have sat with many such parasites, and for form's sake, I have masked my contempt. But that mask has served its purpose, and now I cast it aside. To the worms nestling so complacently in the heart of my beloved empire, I say this: we see you, and we are coming for you.
Arissa Lavinie Duval, private speech given at her post-coronation dinner. Arissa Lavinie Duval is the reigning emperor, having been appointed to the position by the Imperial Senate, and a direct descendant of the first emperor, Henson Duval. Her father was originally thought to be the late Prince Aristide de Lavinie, but Arissa's claim to be the illegitimate daughter of Emperor Hengist Duval has since been ratified by DNA testing. Arissa distinguished herself as a serving senator early in life. Unlike other senators who took their patron support for granted or left the work of intercession to a delegated representative, Arissa made a point of visiting and speaking directly with her patrons. Foremost among her concerns was how little scope for mobility the Empire offered. In theory, it was possible to rise in rank, but in reality, power was hoarded and loyal service went unrewarded. To her mother's horror, Arissa proceeded to go undercover as a slave in the Lagany household on Akana, talking to the staff and listening in on meetings. What she learned would change her view of the Empire forever. The rules could be broken with impunity, so long as the proper bribes were paid. A senator's favor could be secured, a corporation's accounts could be doctored, and an atrocity could be covered up for the right price. On paper, it might be a patronage system, but it operated as a de facto plutocracy. Arissa's experience as a slave also cemented her own view of imperial slavery, namely that it was no worse than indentured servitude, and downright luxurious compared to what the Federation's lowest-paid workers had to endure.
We appreciate the support.
Non-imperial commentators responded by pointing out that slaves in noble households on Akana could hardly be held up as typical examples of slavery.
Roger.
And that
Tally present startup engaged.
And she spent her time in a Christopolis mining facility. Arissa has made no secret of her determination.
All clear, Commander. Put me in the thick of it.
She means to purge it of corruption and has received widespread public support for this cause. Unlike her niece, Aisling Duval, she sees the Empire system as inherently worthy, if impeded by long-term neglect. They need to be cleansed, not torn down and rebuilt, as per Aisling's wishes. As the first woman to serve as Emperor, Arissa is a controversial figure to many, regardless of her personal political stance. Many hardcore traditionalists within the Empire have vowed to depose her and replace her with a ruler more to their liking. Individuals, Denton Patrios.
What disgusts me? That's a perceptive question. By asking it, you reveal that you consider me a man of taste. If you'd asked me what I hated, I'm not sure I could have hidden my disappointment on such a disgust. That deserves an answer.
Things were a little hairy for a second there. No more hostiles detected.
Self-defeating emotion. I see it every day. Most men look at me and think, I want what he has. Perhaps 1 in 1,000 thinks, how can I achieve what he achieved? Now, he's not jealous. He's motivated. Who knows? We might work together one day.
Another ship
but most men are
defenders, we need cover.
They have the desire, but not the initiative. It's like a dog watching you eat and wishing he was a human. And that's the tragic thing about jealous people. They think they hate me, but really, they hate themselves. Because deep in their hearts, they know they're too lazy to fight for their
Enemy reinforcements closing fast. Brace yourself. Scan detected. Scan detected.
Target is not clear. All flight. Charlie joining attack formation. Watch your back,
Scan detected.
Multiple targets in this area, Commander. Attack position.
Target shields offline.
Taking enemy fire, Commander. What are your orders? They're trying to escape, Commander. My shields are down. Request an assist, Commander.
Target destroyed.
Hear you loud and clear. I'm moving in. No more.
Mission accomplished. Great job, everyone.
Wilco, Commander. Returning to fighter bay now. Fighter is in the bay. Just about made it out of that one, Commander.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Orbital flight engaged.
Yankee Heavy Flight Control online. Welcome, Commander. Request docking permission if you wish to land. Takeoff procedure complete. Clear for departure. Flight control now offline. Goodbye, Commander.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage. Fuel scooping. Warning, temperature critical. Fuel scoop disengaged. Orbital flight engaged.
Foxtrot Romeo Yankee Heavy commencing automated flight control routine. Please observe docking protocols. Docking permission denied.
Landing gear deployed.
Touchdown complete. Engaging ship restraints. Your arrival has been noted.
Individuals. Denton Patrius.
What disgusts me? That's a perceptive question. By asking it, you reveal that you consider me a man of taste. If you'd asked me what I hated, I'm not sure I could have hidden my disappointment at such a banal question. but disgust. That deserves an answer. It's jealousy that most disgusts me. It's such a petty, self-defeating emotion. I see it every day. Most men look at me and think, I want what he has. Perhaps 1 in 1,000 thinks, how can I achieve what he achieved? Now, he's not jealous. He's motivated. Who knows? We might work together one day. But most men are not like that. They have the desire, but not the initiative. It's like a dog watching you eat and wishing he was a human. And that's the tragic thing about jealous people. They think they hate me, but really they hate themselves. Because deep in their hearts they know they're too lazy to fight for their dreams.
Denton Patrius, a fireside chat with Serena, 3302. Denton Patrius is a powerful Imperial senator and the Admiral of the Imperial Fleet. He is a controversial figure, admired by many Imperials for his wealth and influence, but deeply unpopular in other quarters for his uncompromising approach to debtors. He is also noted for commanding one of the strongest private military fleets in colonized space. Patrius has repeatedly issued loans to struggling governments via shell companies, only to later hike up the interest rates. When the government defaults on the loan, a common occurrence, Patrius moves in to foreclose. Since few governments are able to match the power of his private fleet, this is usually a one-sided affair, although some governments have appealed for and received the aid of independent pilots. This strategy has brought numerous systems under the control of Patrius's various corporations. If Patrius has any long-term goals beyond increasing his personal power and holding the line against the Alliance and the Federation, they are not publicly known. Politically, he has always played the part of the loyal Imperial. He accepts the need for progress, and has devoted considerable attention to eradicating Emperor's Dawn, an insurgent organization responsible for the assassination of Emperor Hengist Duval. His support for the Empire has been well rewarded, and as Admiral of the Fleet, he enjoys an enviable level of prestige. But even this may not be enough, and many have speculated that Patrius harbors a desire to become Emperor. During the period of uncertainty that followed the death of Hengist Duval, Patrius suggested that the title of Emperor be assigned on the basis of public support, rather than lineal descent, a statement that was widely interpreted as a bid for the throne. When the succession passed to Orissa Lavinia Duval by vote of the Senate, Patrius did not contest it. The question of who should succeed Orissa Lavinia Duval is now a pertinent one. Imperial commentators have suggested that Patrius's highly visible courtship of Princess Aisling Duval may be part of a long-term strategy, as well as a piece of savvy media manipulation. Orissa Lavinia Duval has no children, whereas a child born to a Patrius-Duval partnership could be an extremely strong contender for the throne. Individuals: Edmund Mahon.
Naturally, we faced criticism over the Lu conflict. Many people thought we should have been in there, guns blazing. On the one hand, you have a system that wants to be independent, and on the other, you have the oppressive Federation telling them no. The authorities in Lu put out a call for aid, and what did the Alliance do? We turned them down. That would never have happened on the Holos, would it? I would have been at the head of the Alliance fleet, taking down the Fed-Cap ship with a well-aimed torpedo up the tailpipe. But life isn't like the Holos. You need political and legal clarity. When Lu asked for our help, who exactly was doing the asking? The people? All right then, which people? Who counted their votes, and how was the process monitored? Was their decision an informed one, or were they bombarded with propaganda? The Alliance is rigorous, you see. You can't join a voluntary association of free systems unless you can offer demonstrable proof of your freedom to choose, just as you can't enter into a contract without being of sound mind, acting without coercion.
Edmund Mahon, responding to a question from Jessica Braganza, one of a party of schoolchildren visiting the Prime Minister's residence. Edmund Mahon is the current Prime Minister of the Alliance. The product of a corn-farming family based on Birmingham in the DSO system, Mahon was hard-working and shrewd from an early age, with a particular talent for negotiation. Nobody seemed able to beat his crop prices down, and he always managed to shave something off the asking price of any tools or machinery the family needed. In the first book of his autobiography, The Shadow of Silo 7, he attributes this talent to preparatory research, claiming that he always found out as much as he could about the people he would be dealing with before meeting them. At 18, Mahon won a federal scholarship to study law. Frustrated with what he saw as the imbalance of power between corporations and their employees, Mahon intended to specialize in cases of corporate exploitation. He quickly found, however, that the legal profession was not to his liking. Awash with duplicity, double talk, and corruption was his assessment, and he switched track to political science. 2 years into his course, and following an increasingly vocal series of broadcasts on a personal video channel in which he argued in favor of the newly formed alliance, Mahon's scholarship funds were abruptly cut off. He had unknowingly violated a clause that required him to refrain from public criticism of the federal government. Unwilling to return to his family without having made something of himself, Mahon had no choice but to look for work while continuing to study. The bar in which he had spent so many hours as a student was happy to take him on as a bartender, and he proved so competent that after his graduation he took on the role of manager. Mahon claims it was this experience, rather than any innate idealism, that set him on the path to becoming a career politician. As he puts it, a good bartender has to be able to listen and to give equal respect to everyone while demanding that others do the same. He has to be able to distinguish what is meant from what is said, encourage free exchange of views while tactfully enforcing the rules, and, when necessary, break up fights. Mahon's break into politics came when his friends encouraged him to run for city office against the favoured corporate candidate, Jensen Crane. The Mahon campaign began as a token protest, since Crane was expected to win by a comfortable majority. Mahon eviscerated Crane in the live debates, however, winning over the audience with a combination of wry humour and an empathetic awareness of local issues he could not hope to match his dear high-altitude apartment complex. Crane was elected by a narrow margin, but Mahon's supporters begged him to continue in politics. So it was that, at the age of just 27, Mahon found himself working statesperson Irene Lendl, helping with a campaign to bring the DSO system away from the Federation and make it a part of the Alliance.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
By the time DSO joined the Alliance in 3286, Mahon was a seasoned parliamentarian. He served as a planetary representative several times.
Politics has always been a breeding ground for lies. But one lie outshines all the others, and today we heard it once again. It is the insinuation that to seek a diplomatic solution is weak, that a preference for discussion over conflict means we're afraid to fight. We are accustomed to this, of course. We've heard the President's supporters pervert our words again and again. When we face up to the Federation's previous wrongs, they mock us for our so-called liberal guilt. When we celebrate a détente between the superpowers that will help us oppose the Thargoid menace, they imply that we are traitors. But it is they who are afraid, and with good reason, because the people of the Federation have had enough. They will no longer be manipulated into reckless conflicts that serve only to fatten the wallets of the arms dealers and the privileged. They will no longer pretend that Hudson's tub thumping and saber rattling is anything more than vacuous propaganda. From star to star, Connolly to complex, satellite to station, we hear the same heartfelt cry. Let the mistakes of the past remain in the past, and let the Federation embrace only the best of itself. Let us return to the core values of hard work, honest trade, support for the vulnerable, and mutual respect. The people are ready for us. Let us be ready for them.
Felicia Winters, Liberal Party Annual Address, 3303. Felicia Winters is the head of the Liberal Party of the Federation, and as such serves as ex officio shadow president, opposite President Zachary Hudson of the Republican Party. Winters was born and raised on Taylor Colony, one of the oldest human colonies, and worked for the Sirius Corporation before going into politics full-time at the age of 44. Her current role was thrust of
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
On her unexpectedly. Prior to 3301, Winters was Secretary of State to then President Jasmina Halsey. When both Halsey and Vice President Ethan Naylor went missing aboard Starship One, Winters became acting president. The assumption of this responsibility left her visibly shaken, and despite her popularity in Congress, it was widely felt that she was not up to the job. The Liberal Party was in a state of crisis at the time following the Lu conflict. A group of forces had sought to make the Lu system independent from federal control, prompting a declaration of war from the Federation. Many of the party's supporters were shocked by President Halsey's decision to open fire on refugee ships during the conflict. According to reports, Winters had questioned the action, arguing passionately with her friend Halsey behind closed doors, while maintaining a front of public solidarity. Consequently, she found herself responsible for a party whose voter base had largely deserted it, and whose values had slipped out of alignment with her own. Shortly after Halsey's disappearance, Zachary Hudson called for an emergency
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Loaded no confidence that he resoundingly won, resulting in his appointment to the role of president. Given the massive support for Hudson and the disarray among the Liberals, Winters was expected to resign and let the Liberal Party rebuild itself from the ground up. Instead, she threw herself into her work, leading efforts to persuade various systems not to defect to the Alliance, and distributing aid packages to planets in need. Her energetic and proactive approach led to fresh support for both her and her party, and she currently rivals Hudson in the popularity stakes.
Frameshift drive charging.
Individuals. Hengist Duval. Hengist Duval, 3163 to 3301, was the 15th ruler of the Empire. He was assassinated.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
On the day of his wedding to Florence Lavinie. Hengist reigned during a time of significant change. The Imperial Senate had begun to grow in power, a process that had begun during the long sickness of Hengist's father, Hesketh. The development of the frameshift drive had radically altered life in human-occupied space, facilitating easy access to goods and interstellar travel, and opening formerly isolated cultures to outside influence. Old animosities between the Empire and the Federation finally began to fade. Hengist appeared to neither resist nor oppose these many changes, instead opting to keep the Empire as stable as he could on a day-to-day basis. This middle ground approach was deeply unpopular with the Empire's hardcore traditionalist elements, who saw Hengist as short-sighted, detached,
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
and complacent. In 3238, Hengist wed Anthea Viola Lampeter in an arranged marriage, planned since his childhood. Despite a storm of publicity and celebrations across Imperial space that verged on the hysterical, there was clearly little genuine affection between the couple. It was an open secret that the match had been made solely because of optimal genetic compatibility.